Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today.
No more blackface!
No more blackface! No.
Protests over Black Pete. We speak to a man working to get a racist Dutch character banned. The US president is helping protest songs become more popular. A hospital for elephants opens in India. And Animals Doing Stuff stars a car wash and a clever doggo. All right, well, top of our news feed, Black Pete. Now, protesters fought with police over the weekend over a 19th century racist caricature. They also fought with some Dutch people who claim to see Black Pete as a harmless part of Christmas. Now, Black Pete was written into Dutch folk tales about 150 years ago. He was a dark-skinned helper, read slave, to the Dutch St. Nicholas. His role was to kidnap kids who'd misbehaved and take them off to Spain. So far, so offensive, right? So in recent years, they've tried to change the meaning of Black Pete, saying his skin is that colour because he climbs down chimneys, and now he gives out toys rather than stealing kids. Now, the attempted rewriting hasn't worked. Human rights groups have been trying to get him banned for years, and this year they took it to the courts. But they lost, but say they'll fight on. But on the streets, they're having to fight for a racist symbol not to be celebrated. And as proof that it's mainly the racists in Holland who want to keep Black Pete, thugs from the anti-Islam Pegida organisation were fighting this weekend with the anti-racist groups. Well, earlier we spoke to someone from the group Majority Perspective who took the case of Black Pete to the courts.
As we see it now, the judge gave us a lot of space to go directly to European Court. That was our goal immediately, because the European Court of Human Rights follows the regulations of the UN, and the UN already condemned Black Pete several times. So we're going to win there anyway. So that's our goal. I mean, this aggression this weekend happened. Actually, these people killed Black Pete for us. All these football hooligans and all these fascists, they really killed him. This cannot no longer go like this. This conversation, this battle is going on already for several years, several decades actually, but it started again in 2011. And it's getting more aggressive, more racist. We are fed up with all the aggressions and all the racism, and it needs to stop. And the government doesn't take responsibility for it. So that's why we sued all these parties. Because it's a direct hangover from colonialism. Black Pete is being perpetrated as a stereotypical black person with red lips and the afro wigs and all. And it's just plain blackface, and people here just deny that, while it's very obvious actually for everyone around the world to see. But I think people do see it, actually, and especially after all these years. They had all the arguments, they had all the education they could get. I just think it's a matter of non-white people should shut up and not complain. Also, they say that we are not racist, but in the meantime, they are actually making the Hitler salute and all during this children's party, like a children's party. So it's not. That has nothing to do anymore with the children's party. It's becoming an icon for fascists and right extremists. The peaceful protesters were attacked in the streets in several cities in the Netherlands this weekend while they were protesting against Black Pete. And they were all facing football hooligans, fascists, real neo-Nazis, well-known neo-Nazis. And it's organized also, if you see how it went this weekend. So.
Now, it's been 40 years since an event that continues to shock and amaze anyone who learns of it. Now, what happened on farmland in Guyana showed the power an individual can exert over a group and what that individual can make that group too. Jonestown should serve as a lesson to us all.
It's been 40 years since the Jonestown Massacre, the biggest mass murder-suicide in modern history. Behind it was this man, Jim Jones, who was the leader of an American Christian cult called People's Temple. It claimed the lives of over 900 people, which included over 300 children. So why did they die? In 1974, Jim Jones moved hundreds of his followers from the US to an isolated Guyanese jungle in South America. He leased over 3,800 acres to start a new community Jonestown. The followers were cut off from their family members. 4 years later, a US Congressman, Leo Ryan, organized a delegation of journalists and some concerned relatives to investigate Jonestown. The delegation was approached by at least a dozen cult followers who wanted to return to the US. On November 18, 1978, as they waited for their flight, a group of temple gunmen opened fire and killed 5 people, including Congressman Leo Ryan. Meanwhile, Jones told his followers that the community was under threat and urged his followers to drink cyanide-laced punch.
Take the portion like they used to take in ancient Greece and step over quietly, because we are not committing suicide. It's a revolutionary act. If we can't live in peace, then let's die in peace.
Jonestown remains one of the largest single incidents of intentional civilian death in American history.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. The BBC are running a series on fake news, and they decided to blur that woman's cleavage. They said they did it because they wanted to make sure that the footage was okay for some conservative African nations where it would be shown. Now, some people on social media have said that this is ironic, that it would be in a documentary about fake news. But others pointed out that channels have editorial guidelines, and if you don't like them or feel the BBC was somehow censoring a woman's body, you can always watch something else. More than 500,000 people have watched this video of dogs sleeping in an IKEA store in Italy. And the post that accompanies it says that the store allows stray dogs to come in to get shelter from the rain. You may have seen this guy on your social feeds in the past week. He's from Cambodia, and he went viral when video of him speaking in 12 different languages as he was selling his wares to tourists was put on the internet. Now he's been invited to Beijing to go on Chinese TV. He apparently wants to go to university there too. Now, a video of a man seeing the world in colour for the first time has done 500,000 views and counting. A deputy called Jeff Dishoom was given Enchroma glasses which have lenses to block certain wavelengths of light. Have a look.
I think they're working. Are they? Oh my god. What do you see? A different world.
Now, protest music is part of the American canon. Just think back to the Civil Rights Movement and the Vietnam War. So at a time when Americans have the guy they do in the White House, it's little surprise that his name is coming up in music more and more.
Arrest the president. You got the evidence. That is Russian intelligence.
Donald Trump has been inspiring song lyrics for decades.
I was smart like Einstein, rich like Donald Trump.
He's been featured in several songs since the late 80s. But Trump hasn't always been public enemy #1 in the tracks. In fact, up until recently, Donald Trump was often referred to as an icon of wealth, success and power in many hip-hop and rap songs.
Like Donald Trump, say something like them
Rich in my hood on me, Donald Trump.
over the world when I'm on my Donald Trump. Look at all this money, ain't that some shit?
But a lot has changed.
So I think he's amazing.
Since Donald Trump entered US politics and was elected president.
I don't know how he got elected to begin with.
And now many artists are using their platforms to diss Trump, making Trump's America one of protest music's hottest subjects.
Yeah, sick tan. That's why he wants us to disband, because he cannot withstand the fact we're not afraid of Trump. Walking on eggshells, I came to stomp.
We live in troubled times. Colin Kaepernick was blackballed. Oh, please. This still America with 3 Ks. Believe that.
Wearing Fiji, sipping mojitos and martinis, while Trump tweeting quotes from Mussolini.
Trump is a chump, know how we feel, punk. Tell him that God coming.
It's the warlord. Bring the voodoo. When I bail through, it's crazy like Bellevue. What they tell you? Leave that boy alone. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence.
But of course, he still has some fans in the music industry, particularly this guy.
I know Obama was 7 cents, but ever since Trump won, it proved that I could be president.
But what makes Trump so worthy of mention in today's music? Legendary artist and activist Niinisto-donald might have the best answer to that question.
An artist's duty, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times. We will shape and mold this country, or it will not be molded and shaped at all anymore.
Okay, a spin around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Monday. Mark Zuckerberg lost $17.4 billion this year. That's $3 billion more than the GDP of my birthplace, Jamaica, but about level with the GDP of North Korea. Now, Zuckerberg, who is chairman and chief exec of Facebook, has found his personal bank balance hit by all the negative news stories about the site recently. The latest work by Damien Hirst is on display in Doha. It's called Miraculous Journey, and it is 14 sculptures showing a baby from conception to its growth and development inside the uterus. They will live outside Qatar's brand new Women and Children's Hospital, the first hospital dedicated to women and children in the region. Finland's President Sauli Niinisto says he didn't talk about raking forests with his American counterpart. The US leader said that President Niinisto told him Finland didn't have terrible forest fires like the ones that have killed at least 80 people in California because they rake the forests. President Niinisto said that topic didn't come up. Now, Finns have been posting up on social media mocking America's president with pictures like this: "Rake America Great Again." Well, sharks are back off a beach in Thailand that had to be closed because of over-tourism. This video of black-tipped reef sharks in Maya Bay was released by Thai marine biologists. Koh Phi Phi's beach was made famous by a film of the same name by Danny Boyle starring Leonardo DiCaprio. But too many people were visiting, so it was closed initially for a few months, but now the Thai government say it will be closed to tourists indefinitely so the area can recover. Now, a hospital to treat elephants has opened in India, a first for the country where, even though the animal is deified, in reality they're often mistreated by the humans who come into contact with them.
Splish splashing. These gentle giants are enjoying a well-deserved bath. Maya and Phulkali are patients at India's first hospital for elephants.
So I think by building a hospital, we are underlining the fact that elephants need welfare measures as much as any other animal, that captive elephants are not meant to be used and abused, but instead have to be given the respect which an animal needs if you're going to be using the animal. But I think most importantly, our hospital has been equipped with very portable, mobile kind of machinery. So if an elephant is hit and run very far away anywhere in North India, we can go there and we can take care of it on site itself.
The hospital in India's Uttar Pradesh caters to elephants released from captivity, treating issues ranging from lameness, blindness, abscess and arthritis. Getting the best possible care money can afford.
The elephants have been so mistreated and they're becoming extinct, and I think it's really important, and finally we are doing something about it. You know, the world is actually saying, hello, we need to do something. And look at them, they're so much happier. And when you see the abuse that they've been through, the horrible shackles that were put on their feet and the bleed and pull out, and to see them all healed up, it's just really nice, yeah.
The hospital is close to a conservation site on the banks of Yamuna River. They are currently looking after 22 elephants and hope to add to that number. Elephants are integral to India's cultural and religious practices. But despite the reverence many Indians hold for the mammals, many are put on displays at religious and tourist destinations around the country. Suvi has been abused and lost all her molars as well as much of her hearing. Another elephant, Asha, has chronic leg issues as she was abused in a circus.
These elephants go through a lot of abuse, brutality, cruelty in order to be ridden. And through that process, they develop abscesses, internal problems, back problems, all kinds of health issues that need to be addressed.
There are an estimated 25,000 elephants in the wild, and they are considered an endangered species. So taking care of them have become crucial.
Well, to animals being cared for, to an animal caring for himself here in Turkey. Now, this one just wants the very best coat he can, and who can blame it? So it's found a very neat and efficient way of doing so by using a car wash. This video has been watched millions of times so far. That's your lot from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again soon.